Can I borrow funds for my trip to Paris? How much funds can I send for my studies education abroad? What if a family member falls sick? The answer to all these questions can be found in RBI Master Direction called Liberalised Remittance Scheme. So let's have this video in the form of question and answers. First question: who can avail Liberalised Remittance Scheme or LRS? LRS can be availed by any resident individual, including minors. For minors, of course, some documents such as Form A2 has to be signed by the natural guardian. Also, a proprietorship firm can avail this particular facility because I guess proprietor's PAN card is same as that of the firm. That is why proprietorship firm is included in this scheme. Partnership firms, private limited company, public limited companies, trust, NRIs, all of them cannot avail this facility. Hope you have understood that this scheme is used to send funds outside India, right? What are the purposes for which funds can be sent outside India? That's our question number 2. So funds can be sent for both current account as well as capital account transactions and a combination of both of them. What are capital account transactions? They are the transactions which are done to acquire an asset or which results in a creation of a liability between a person resident in India and resident outside India. Current account transactions, all those which are not capital account transactions, are current account transactions. How much funds can be sent? LRS limits have been revised several times, from about $25,000 way back in 2004 when this scheme was launched to the current limit of $250,000 US equivalent. If I think of dollar as $1 is equal to 80 rupees, in that case it is approximately 2 crore rupees per financial year per applicant. Financial year is 1st April till 31st March. Question number 4. Per applicant limit means that both my husband and I can send 5 lakh US dollars, $500,000. The broad answer to this question is yes, the limits can be consolidated. However, there are certain conditions. First condition is that in case it's a capital account transaction, that means you're sending funds for purchase of property, the property has to be in joint name. Or in case a bank account is being opened, the bank account has to be in joint name. Further, a resident individual cannot gift to the other resident individual into a foreign bank account. So I cannot send fund to my husband's account abroad in the form of gift. Question number 5. What are the various types of capital account transactions? Number 1, opening of foreign currency account abroad. Number 2, purchase of property abroad. Number 3, making investments abroad, buying shares, mutual funds, venture capital funds, etc., etc. Setting up wholly owned subsidiary. Extending loans, including loans to NRIs who are close relative. Question number 6. Can I take loan and then remit funds under LRS? Answer: it depends on the purpose for which you are sending funds abroad. In case it's capital account transaction, you cannot borrow funds from banks. For example, you cannot take a personal loan or a home loan and then buy property abroad. However, in case it's a current account transaction such as studies abroad or a visit abroad, you can take avail and then go. In other words, you can take a personal loan and have that trip to Paris. How much funds can I remit under LRS for private visits? For private visits abroad, other than Nepal and Bhutan, you can remit up to $250,000 US per financial year per applicant. This limit will include the limit for purchase of tickets through rail, through water, Euro rails, Everything, your lodging, boarding, everything has to be within this limit of 2,50,000 USD. Question number 8. Will I have to first convert the funds at my end in foreign currency and then give it to my travel agent? No. The tour operator can collect this amount both in INR as well as USD. Even if you are making payment in INR to a tour operator for a trip abroad, it will be covered under LRS. Question number 9. Besides private visits, what are the other current account transactions where the limit is strictly USD $250,000? The first type of transaction is gift or donation. So any resident individual can give gift or donation outside India to the extent of $250,000. Next is going abroad for employment. If I'm going abroad for employment and there are some initial expenses that I have to bear, that payment can be made under LRS. The maximum limit being 2,50,000 per financial year. Maintenance of close relatives abroad. If I have a close relative abroad, I can send remittance under LRS to the tune of 2,50,000 USD per financial year. Close relatives are my relatives which are defined under Companies Act 2013. Question number 10. Are there purposes where more than $250,000 can be sent under LRS without a separate approval from RBI? Yes. In case you want to send more than $250,000, you can for the following purposes. First example would be immigration. A person who is wishing to immigrate means permanently settle abroad, that person can remit more than $250,000 in case the laws of that country requires him to do that. But there is a caveat here. This limit should not be breached just to earn immigration credits or points to become eligible for that immigration. Business trips. Visits by individuals for attending international fairs or trainings or apprenticeship programs, etc. are called as business trips. For business trips, the limit is $250,000. However, in case your business trip expenses are being totally sponsored by your employer, in that case, it will be considered as residual current account transaction. It will not come under LRS. It will be a separate scheme and separate limits altogether. Medical treatment abroad. Authorized dealer, they can release foreign currency up to USD 250,000 per applicant per financial year without any paperwork or estimate of the medical expenses. This is one example where more than 250,000 can be sent, but the condition is that there has to be an estimate of the medical expenses either by a doctor in India or an abroad doctor. Interestingly, the person who's accompanying the sick person also has a separate limit of 250,000 USD per financial year. Facilities available to students for pursuing their education abroad. So students going abroad up to 250,000, they or their parents can remit funds outside India. In case the university says that your fee is more than $250,000, 2 crore rupees, more than that, maybe a Harvard MBA or something like that. In that case, basis the university invoice or the request, more than 250,000 can be sent by authorized dealer without going to the RBI. Question number 12. Can I, resident individual, give loan to my son who is non-resident individual? The clear answer to that question is yes, you can give loan. However, there are certain conditions. The first condition is that the person who is giving loan and the person who is receiving loan are close relatives as defined under Companies Act 2013. You cannot just give loan to a friend or somebody who is not related to you. Condition number 2. The loan amount cannot be in the form of cash. It has to be in the form of bank transfer, electronic fund transfer through check or draft in the NRO account of a non-resident. The repayment of loan again will be either through NRE account, NRO account, FCNR account, or by way of direct remittance from abroad to the account of the resident Indian. Because it's a loan between two close relatives, it has to be without interest. The minimum tenure of the loan has to be 1 year. It's not that I am giving you loan under LRS and you return the money to me the next month. The minimum tenure or period of the loan has to be 1 year. This loan amount will be from my overall limit as a resident of $250,000. So if I've utilized, let's say, $10,000 for my visit abroad in a financial year, then in the current financial year, I can only gift up to $240,000 to my NRI relative or friend. Last but not the least, the loan can only be utilized for the personal expenses of the non-resident individual. It cannot be used for restrictive purposes such as nidhi companies, purchase of agricultural land, etc. by the NRI. Question number 12. Is PAN mandatory? Answer: yes. Permanent account number or PAN is mandatory to take advantage of LRS. Last question. Anything else that I need to take care of? First, in case I'm remitting funds or I plan to remit funds under LRS in the financial year, remember the bank account from which I'm doing a LRS transaction has to be minimum 1 year old. What if I have a bank account with, let's say, SBI, but I want to do remittance through HDFC Bank, which is a new account? In that case, HDFC Bank will have to obtain your last 1 year statement of SBI to check that there was no suspicious transactions or it was not a borrowed funds in case of capital account transactions. This 1 year limit is there for capital account transactions. In case you do not have a bank account that is more than 1 year old because of various reasons, maybe you are a minor, you have just turned major and you didn't have a bank account which is more than 1 year old, or your account, that particular account has got closed, statement not possible, in that case you can provide a ITR return. So I hope this was a learning session for you. This was another session in Foreign Exchange Foundation, part 4, and day 15 of my journey from a banker to an entrepreneur. Thanks for joining.